So in this video, we will be investigating programming exercise 6.12 in the back of chapter 6. This program is to display characters. We want to write a method that prints characters between ch1 and ch2 with a specified number of characters per line. We're going to write a test program that prints 10 characters per line from 1 to z. So from the character 1 ending at the character z, and we want those characters separated by one space. So we're going to write a method that we're going to call print chars. Public, static, and then it's going to return void, because this method is not going to return any type of value. It's simply going to do the printing and then end. And so we're going to call this print char. It's going to have as input 3 parameters. So the first is going to be that character ch1, the beginning character. The second will be another character, ch2. And our third parameter will be an integer that tells us how many characters we want to print per line. And so in this method, we're going to need to keep track of which character we're printing, remember, as we print this out, to determine when to go to the next line. And we've seen this before in some previous programs that we've written. And so we're going to have an integer that we call count. I'm going to set that equal to 1, because as we print that first character, it will be in position 1. And remember, we're going to have to use that modulo operator, that remainder operator, %, that's going to tell us when we reach in this case, we're going to print 10 per line. So it's going to tell us when we reach a multiple of number per line, so that we know that we need to insert a print line statement and not just a print statement. So we're going to have to keep count of which position we're printing. So in order to print out the characters, we're going to start at ch1, and we're going to print out ch1, and then we'll print out the next character until we get to ch2. So that's going to be a for loop. And we're going to start for I equal to ch1, and we're going to continue looping until as long as I is less than or equal to ch2. That will be our loop continuation condition. We will loop as long as remember that's the integer value for that starting at character 1. As long as I is less than or equal to ch2, we're going to keep printing those characters. So we'll increment I by 1, and we'll also increment count by 1. And what we want to do is simply print out the characters. But remember, we have specified that we only print out 10 per line. So we have to consider which position character we're printing. And we know that if we are at position where count mod number per line is equal to 0, and we know that we've reached the last character in that line, we need to print that character out, and then the next character will have to go on a new line. So we would need to issue a print line statement. So we'll print out the character, as a print line, because we're ready to go to the next line. Now remember that I is the integer equivalent, the ASCII equivalent, if you will. So it is an integer, but when we cast I as a character, we're going to get that equivalent character. And so similar, if count mod number per line is not equal to 0, then we know that we just need a print statement. Because we have not reached that last character in the line. And again, we're going to cast I as a character and simply print I. And so that is our print chars method. We come in, we set our counter that determines what position we're printing in to 1, and we loop and print each and every character from CH1 to CH2, maintaining our count. But we print it such that if we have reached the position where count mod number per line is 0, we want to print that character and then go to the next line, so we need the print line. Otherwise, we haven't reached the point yet where we need to move the cursor to the next line, so we issue just a print statement. And so back in our main program, our main method, if you will, we want to call print chars. We want to give it the following parameters. CH1, our first parameter, will be 1. That's where we're starting to print from. CH2 will be Z, and then our number per line will be 10. So we'll simply call print chars. And remember, the first argument is a character, so we enclose that in single quotes. The second argument, also a character, we'll enclose that in single quotes. And the third argument or parameter is 10, is an integer. So now let's run the program. And so there we have the characters starting at 1 all the way to and including the capital Z with exactly 10 characters per line.